Hello, everyone. A very good morning to all of you. This is Sandeep Bose wishing you all happy Independence Day. And in this today, we are bringing to you an exciting episode of Passion Podcast 2.0. This time, we are doing episode number 17 and a special guest joining us all the way from Chennai. Her name is Meena Chabbria. Meena Chabbria, ma'am, is working as the AVP of Brand Alliances with PVR Limited. She has more than 10 years of experience working for this organization. Previously, she has worked with Inox as a marketing manager. She has also worked with Shamang Davar International Limited as an assistant manager. And she started her career as a special educator in Chennai. So let's welcome Meena Chabria ma'am to this podcast and let's hear from her, her journey, her story. Welcome, ma'am. How are you?
I'm good, Sandeep. How are you?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic, ma'am. And first of all, I would like to thank you once again for joining on an Independence Day. I know how busy you are. Yesterday, you went to Kedarnath. From there, you took a flight and came back, and we're doing it on Monday in a holiday. But you are not in a holiday mood. You are in office. I can see that. So, how was your experience of traveling from north to south in a
First of
day?
all, thank you, Sandeep. I think in the Passion Studio, you welcome people who are really passionate about life and people. And thank you so much for having me. And happy Independence Day, guys. I think it's the 75th year, and we're really happy to celebrate with all of you together. So, to answer your question, from north to south, it's very hot. Like Chennai is always hot, and it's really a climatic change. But I think I pause by in every few weeks to say where I want to recorrect myself and gain the energies and win with coincidence. So the trip was amazing, and I'm looking forward for the days coming ahead.
Right. And so I was giving you introduction to my audience, and since you are working for this organization, PVR. So PVR is one of the biggest multiplexes that we have, right?
Yeah,
And so you are working with them for more than 10 years, more than a decade. So
yeah.
I believe there are so many stories or so many memories you have which you would like to share. But ma'am, before we get into this, your professional field and all the expertise, so you have also you were in IIM Raipur. You have completed your management degree from there as well. But before we talk more about this, I would like you to talk more about your childhood, your upbringing, and what was it like while growing up, and what was your thought process at that point of time? Did you ever thought that you will be working like this, or you have whatever your dreams are that time you are able to achieve? What was your childhood like, if you can share?
So, before I start about my childhood, I think I have to tell you that. So recently, I lost my dad, and 6 weeks back, and it's one of the phases that I'm still really understanding whether I'm a child or an adult now. Because at the end of the day, you go to your parents and seek certain things, and you still are a child in front of their eyes. And when I start this, I have to tell you that I have the most had the most amazing story with my dad and my parents, and my childhood has been one of the dreamland stories, or Cinderella stories any child could have. And my parents brought us up in a very secure and a very individualistic approach childhood. They never forced us to not be what we are. That really helped us. And one of the things which I follow with my children, and which comes through my childhood, is a non-opinionated home. So my father or my mother will never come and say, I think you're doing right or wrong. We had that wings with them saying, even if you're wrong or you're right, we are here to support you and we take you by the stride. So I think that way the childhood was an amazing experience. Point number two, did I know what I'll be today? Of course I knew, because I didn't want to. I live by the quote, you don't, it's not a problem if you're born poor, but if you're going to die poor, it's a problem. So I very well knew that I'm going to correct a fortune for myself. I was very, very focused on that way. The third point, whether I knew I was in the movie or media industry, I think yes, because makeup and drama was always a part of my life, even when I was young. So I think That way I definitely knew I would be something in the media. Of course I wanted to be an actress, but thankfully I ended up in a media job, and I get to consult or give consultation to actors, which is a bright thing. I
Right.
hope I answered all your questions.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, certainly you did.
Yeah.
Then I mentioned I am Raipur. So I am, everybody knows, it's a reputed organization that we have. So how's your exposure or how is your experience in I am Raipur, and what are the best lessons you have learned from there of your life?
So, first of all, I am Raipur gave me that platform to show people that I'm an IM, and that makes a lot of noise within myself. That hey, look, I'm an IM. I feel happy about it. There was previously in my organization 4 5 people from IM, B which they call, or A which they call, but I never knew the short terms. I only wanted to reach out to the best of teachings, and IM Raipur I heard was one of the best in teaching faculty. What I learned from them is I was doing two courses together, which was UCLA PGPX and IM. So what I learned from IM is a very Indian perspective and detailedness of the subject. It was so in detail and depth that I could implement them on my daily work easily, and I could connect to a lot of people. Second thing I learned from IM is like be a student and don't be a teacher, because the teacher knows more than you. So I used to, because we're all professionals who are studying in during that COVID times. If you see, most of these IMs and everyone had students who were very qualified, and I used to see every perspective the teacher has, and other person has much better stories. So after 2 months, I learned to be quiet and just be a student for life.
Right. So you started you completed your management degrees, but after that you started your career as a special educator in
Yeah,
Chennai, right?
yeah,
For the autistic children, if I'm
yeah.
not wrong, right? So how did this happen, and why you took this as a challenge? Because it's not an easy job. I myself was I was working as a special educator, so I know uh, how much difficulty it is. They face a lot of challenges when it comes to learning, and as a special educator also you have to be very very energetic, innovative, creative. At the same time, you have to have a lot of patience with them. So how did this happen, and uh, why you choose to do this?
Yeah. So how did this happen? It happened accidentally, frankly. And why did this happen is because I did my teacher's training, thinking I will be, all the housewife things. Easy is that study in do a teacher's training course, go with your
Yeah.
children to school. Your school fee gets covered, and you don't have to worry because the children are there in front of you, and teachers' children gets work. That's what I understood. I'm not giving a generic statement about me. I'm saying. And when I did the teachers training course, and the first thing they called me, I got interviewed to my children's school, Sindhi model, and I went there and worked for 2 months, and I felt too much of my children all the time, and more children. Like I would never want to have. I was a young mother. I never wanted to have a gang of children's coming up to me, and they'll be like, "Ma'am, ma'am." I was like, "Oh my God, it's not going to happen. This career for me is not going to be working." And then I thought, okay, alternatively, let me see if I can help special children and start working there. I worked for 1 year in autistic clinic, but then they say empty vessel is heaven to some thoughts. So I used to come back home and see my children's behavior and say, oh shit, maybe they are also autistic and stuff. So then I really wanted to understand why I chose the career and what was the background. And hence, to sum it up, I think it was a furious call when I didn't know how to start my career.
Right, right. So that time you thought that maybe teaching is a profession you want to start off with, because that is the
Yeah,
most
yeah,
convenient for you
yeah,
that point of time.
yeah.
Yeah. So after that, I think you have worked there for 1 year, and then you started working as assistant manager with Shamang Tower International Limited. So for us, I'm telling you my perception. So when we hear this name, since we are born in India, so every award show, anything, we see that there's a dance performance, right? And most of the dance performance in that time, 90s, I'm talking about early 2000, it was all choreographed by
By
Mr.
Shakti.
Shamang Davar. Right. And he's one of the finest and fittest choreographers that we have in the country. So, how's your experience working with that group? And did you get the opportunity to meet with him? And how's your experience for the 3 years that you have worked there?
So Shamak actually changed my life, and wherever Shamak is, Shamak, I love you to death, and you're the best ever human I met. So I used to have this friend of mine called Shruti who saw me in the school and told me if you want to work for Shamak Davar, and I used to take my daughter for classes, and this was a call center job for 8,000.
For the dance classes. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So for evening time. So I thought I lost my teacher's journey of being a teacher and the passion. So let me start with the call center. And I called and I used to call the parents saying today is a class, tomorrow this, that, and it
Okay.
happened.
It was a call center. Okay.
Earlier, first it was a call center.
Okay.
So I joined as a call center employee for 8,000 rupees salary. And then one day, then I met Shruti, who used to be then the big lady of Shamak Dawar, and now is working for Aditya Chopra. She's like the person who just molded me into a professional. And I always used to wonder how this girl looks, the way she dresses, the way she talks, and all that stuff. And one day on a call center, I landed up on a call saying, please tell me the call time, what time is the show, what is this? And so I answered all the questions. And then he said, that was a call from a guy, and he said, you did a very good job. I said, thank you, sir. He said, I'm Shamak. I said, which Shamak? He said, I'm Shamak Dawar. And I was like, you must be kidding. How do I believe that you're Shamak Dawar? He said, darling, I'm telling you, I'm Shamak Dawar. So that was the first time I heard Shamak, and and I was like in the cloud nine. Think about it: a girl who wants to be a teacher is now talking to Shamak Dawar, who's the big B of dance industry, and
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, man, fortune is hitting me closer. And immediately he called Shruti and said, we need to promote this girl as an assistant manager. And then I got promoted, and then later I hosted a lot of shows. And to answer your question, have I met Shamak? I have met Shamak. He's called me to stage, and he said that she's a fab organizer, fab person, and I love him to death. Like, he's one who carries a lot of vibe and positive energy, and that taught me. It gave me a foundation of all the events work I do. But to tell you that and recall a recent experience, one of my friend was a costume designer for the Olympiad this year, and she met
Okay.
Shamak. She was the designer for the dresses, and she said that I know Meena, and he was like, she was saying that the kind of love he has for you, it's unbelievable. He was telling it in front of everybody that I know Meena, she's such a darling and stuff. And the last hope would be I really want to work with him for some of the show as a volunteer, and definitely live my moments of dance institute again. It's a crazy day out there, like it's crazy. Yeah,
Are you still in touch with him?
yeah, yeah, I'm in touch with him, very much in touch with him.
Right. Right. And so that I think this tenure was for 3 years, right?
Yeah,
Right. And after that, I think that experience helped you to work for one of the biggest multiplexes that we have in the country,
yeah,
that is Inox. And now in the Inox, you have worked as a marketing manager. Now, when it comes to marketing, you already have your degrees on public relations as well, right?
yeah,
So when it comes to marketing or sales, you have to be very creative and innovative. At the same time, you have to be top notch when it comes to the cutthroat
yeah.
competition with your rivals, right? So, how's your experience, and what type of exposure you got from that experience? And give our audience a inside view of how this big multiplexes works, and what is the atmosphere like.
So if you want to enter a Jurassic Park with all the characters every day, and you don't know where to end up, how to start, and how to deal with certain situations, and you want to then enter a Disneyland with saying there's a lot of glamour, that's ritz and bits, and then it's a showbiz life, and then you suddenly enter the Oscars where you're in red carpet. That's my role. Like I don't know the day I would say that okay, I'm going to have a sleep for next 2 days. It's that difficult because for the audiences who wants to know how the cinema industry works, please understand there are layers to it. And the layer first A is that we sell 850 screens as on today, which is 850 different products. Then we sell at least, or we market, or we kind of distribute at least 10 or 12 movies a week, which makes it more knowledgeable, more in creative, because you need to kind of re-understand how the movie works. A Jurassic Park or a Disneyland, Disney's movies, two opposite content. So it's two parallel content. So you'll have to market A movie in a certain style, B movie in a certain style. You have to sell A movie in a certain style. be movie industry. It's a lot of hard work, but saying so, it's an unknown world, and people who are attracted by show and biz, and at the end of the day, after doing all this, I do at least 7 or 8 events in a week, appearances, which I like to be properly dressed, and I get to wear the best of the industry dresses. Then yeah, this is the kind of industry you have to be in. You need to
Right.
know to celebrate yourself. That's movie industry.
So, any experience of yours which you like to share while working for Inox? Like you met with somebody, like a, I believe you must meet with many celebrities. Recently, I saw your picture with Mr. Amir Khan. So, any experience while working for Inox that you cherish for the rest of your life?
Yeah, so this is one experience I've never spoken about, but it's coming in my book, and this is the first time I'm talking about it, Sandeep. And you should see how much of passion we have. So I enter the job for the first day, and I call the PRO because I'm feeling like, oh man, I've got a job, and it's so powerful. And I said I want to meet this actor called Surya, and he said, yeah, Surya is a South Indian actor. And
Yeah,
I said,
yeah, I
yeah,
know him.
yeah. He said, tomorrow, ma'am. I said, okay, tomorrow. I got ready and I went to his house and I meet Surya for real, like real. He's standing there and I'm taking a picture with him. And then those days, in 2007 8, you don't have phones with cameras. You either have a BB, a Blackberry phone, but you don't have a quality. So there's a photographer clicking a picture of you and sending it to you after 2 days once the film is washed. And after 3 days, he got the photo to me, and I'm sitting and I'm seeing, shit, I don't know where is this dress because I'm not going to wash this dress. I'm going to keep this dress because I met Surya and I've hugged him and kept this picture. And any guess what would have happened, Sandeep?
No guess. No
So,
guesses.
so I've gone to meet him, and in excitement, I've worn a dress ulta and gone. And I don't even
Oh,
know the ulta. So I've gone with the thing that I'm seeing Surya, and after a lot of grinding, I'm seeing the dress is ulta, and I've just worn it and gone. So that's something I cannot forget as a moment. I met him there, and I think one more person whom I met too early in my life, and that's where my attitude bone comes in, is Rajnikant sir, because you know, I get a lot of calls from him whenever his movie releases and stuff. And having Rajnikant sir's number on your phone is like someone came. There was a call, and Rajnikant sir was calling. He's like, "You're kidding?" I said, "No, I'll put it on speaker, bro. Just listen." And he was like, "Wow, actually, Rajnikant sir is calling you." I said, "Yeah, actually, he's calling me." So I think that's where we start. Yeah.
right. So
Too
it must be
early.
very, yeah, yeah.
Sorry, too early to have success when you meet stars.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I am a huge movie fan, and I myself am also an actor. So I understand what kind of excitements you mentioned that you also wanted to become an actress, right? So
Yeah.
what kind of excitement you had, and while meeting to them, especially because
Yeah.
people have so many different perceptions towards the celebrities until or unless you meet them in real life, right?
Yeah.
So, my next question to you, ma'am, is you have, after that stint with Inox, you're still working with PVR. Now, you're working with PVR for more than 12 years, which is not a short period of time. So, I believe that you have many stories to tell in this journey, and also if you can share the most difficult phase and also your greatest learning in this journey or in this process.
So first of all, my heart, blood, soul, and everything belongs to PVR. I think I'm a hardcore PVR. It's like I tell this to my CEO, Mr. Gautam Datta, and Shalu, who's my boss, that we are a rare blood group, and we call ourselves AB positive, which is Ajay Bijli positive group. And we all, whatever you say, that blood of PVR is always in us. So that's the base foundation of the story. The hardest thing for me or for us is the pandemic. When you saw this screen shut and when you saw the employees getting affected, I think it's a bad phase it has gone, but I never ever want to relive that life, because I think what happened during the phase, it's unexplanatory. It's like it's damaging your soul and heart, and something that's so close to your heart, you just can't let go of it. And that's where you had a lot of uh, you know uh, understanding about how life can really look at. So that's the worst phase of my life and in my career. The best phase is that. we are not taught to be employees, but we are taught to be owning the business. And I would be very less upset if something happens to me, but I'll be very, very upset if something happens to my company or something happens around, because the love and passion we have for our work and the company is too huge. And I think this is a rare uh, feeling of an employee, that you grow to a certain level. And all thanks to PVR, I think a great career. And if I retire, I always say this: I retire from PVR, because that's how much I love the brand.
Right. And ma'am, as you mentioned that you are working in the industry, which is a showbiz industry, so where you get to meet with so many people, celebrities, not only actors, say for example, directors, producers, music
Yeah.
composers, and so many others as well. So, can you share some more stories, just like you shared with Mr. Rajinikanth or Surya? Do you have any other experience which you want to mention, especially with celebrities like Mr. Bachchan or any other celebrities?
So I've not met Mr. Bachchan till two people I've not met till now is Mr. Bachchan and Ajit, and I definitely want to meet Ajit because he's like on my top list of meeting. On the singers, producers, or the background music, I think it's a very different world out there. I catch up with them on personal and professional level, and the kind of hard work they put in, especially Anirudh. I always talk to him and I keep telling him that you're a big package in a small package, because his work is so big and he's so maintained and thing. I had this personal experience of seeing him work for continuous six months without break. And I don't know how these boys manage. So much of hard work goes in producing a movie back to back schedules, the tiniest of detail. And I'm amazed by one Anirudh. Two, I also love the work of Murugadas sir. He's very close to me again.
Anirudh, the music composer you're talking about?
Yeah, yeah, Anirudh, yeah.
Yeah.
The second one is Murugadas sir, who's a director of the Tamil industry. He's a big name in the Tamil
Yeah,
industry.
the director of Gajani, right?
Yeah, and you know what amazes me is like a text from me, or I will write to them, sir, how are you doing? Immediately they will respond, or they'll call, ma'am, all okay, you texted us, or is everything fine? Do you want anything? Or something which is very close to me. Sometime I share with them, and they immediately respond. This is also a very nice thing that they stay grounded. I learn a lot of humbleness from the South industry,
So you
and of
you
course.
closely work with the South industry, right?
I closely work with the South and do host a lot of events from West and North. And the last experience before the lockdown I had with this Ranveer and Singh, and he was amazing. I wanted to meet him and talk to him, and I was always magnified by his aura. And when I saw him, I was like, wow, this guy has something. This guy is really made of his life. And because he's also Sindhi, we got him a small cake of Sindhi swag, welcome Sindhi swag, and he was so cool. And he was in fact taking the phone and saying, "Come, let's take pictures together." So I think there's something to do, learn from them, that when they see you working for them, or the industry sees you working for the industry, they respect you a lot.
Right. You mentioned about Rajnikant sir, who's a big superstar in South. Also, do you have any exposure meeting with Mr. Kamala Hassan or Vikram?
All of them, yeah. Kamala Hassan sir, I met him now for Vikram movie, and he did a small launch at cinemas. And before that, also I met him for his birthdays and other stuff. Very, very intellectual. Like I think Kamala Hassan sir's intellectual can't match anyone. And I still remember how he spoke to me on the rhymes. He gave story of all the rhymes. Like Jack and Jill went up the hill, as a we know it as a rhyme for school student, but he knew the entire story. So his intellectual can't be matched. He's a different level. And so is Vikram and other superstars. They're all like very, very close and very, very humble.
Right.
Yeah,
So the list goes on. Like there are so many big celebrities, like just like A.R. Rahman, sir is
yeah.
there, right? So you must be having some experience with him as well.
Not more, but I met him only now when his movie got released. I think it was called the 99 Songs or something.
Yes, yes,
I
yes.
don't remember the name, but yeah, fully. But I saw him that time. I mean, he also is so humble. Yeah, it's so I think in South, though they are like very star powered, They're very stars humble also. They don't throw their weight. He was just walking in the cinema. The security told him to stop by for the checkup. We were telling no, then he quietly stood up saying, "Let's do it."
Ma'am, although you talked about your experience as a AVP brand alliances, but I would like to ask you one question, which is when there is a big movie release comes, just like you mentioned about Kamala Hassan or Rajinikanth or Surya, big celebrities, and before that, I believe the it is a lot of task for the team
Yeah.
internally as well as externally. And when the crowd starts coming, say for example, the first day of the movie release, I believe that they already book it advance, but how do you manage that? Because when it's a big release, you have to have all the seats ready and all the places uh, get ready for the people. So how do you manage that, and what are the like back end work that you have to put in to make sure that everything goes smoothly? Because it's a crowd, a huge crowd we have seen in the news, TV, people go crazy, right? How do you
Yeah, see
manage that
the
situation?
yeah. Good question. In fact, how do we manage? I think it's very efficient of the departments because operation scheduling does a part, then distribution does theirs, the operation does theirs. Where I come in picture is to just see that if the movie is marketed well and we kind of, book the tickets for our clients and VVIPs and stuff. But it's a mammoth of a task. Let me tell you, it's like a big task when you see
Yes.
people and especially during big movies, you'll have people standing outside your house for 2 kilometers because they know where I live. Then they'll say that can we get tickets? The background the background operations is planned and scheduled. So we have like 4 shows in a day. We know the time and we know how many people are coming. We know how much of F&B has to be ready. I think our skin is in the game and we know our game very well. So it's not hard, but it's not easy.
Right, right. And also, one more question I want to ask you, because recently there's a movie released in Bengal about Satyajit Ray, which is
Hmm.
like a biopic, and
Yeah,
many small theaters was not bringing this movie into the theater, although it was in Inox and it was in PVR, and PVR in all the places, and not only in West Bengal, Pune, Maharashtra, Delhi, Noida, also there. I think I don't know if you remember the name. It's Operaji, the name of
yeah.
that. When you bring a movie, like, do you always go by the? Definitely, at the end of the day, it's all about revenues, right? Generating the revenues. But when there's a movie is coming out, do you always go or chase the revenue, or also do you see the creativity and the story and all the how what message it has for the society, or it should reach to that level?
See, it's a very different game because revenue is a consequence of how the content is. And content is something which is scheduled, and you're seeing the recent development that content has become a very high from South. Like, if you see the South content, people are really loving South content even on OTT more, and South stars are getting the power or the right
Yeah.
of platform now. So content is the king, and revenues follow if the content is great. And we don't source; it's already scheduled, planned. The distributor or the producer approaches the scheduling team or the programming team, and I think we have the best in industry, and they would have seen something about the movie, and that's why it has been scheduled. And it's a word of mouth. Today, it's in and out that you market movies till a level, and after that, the word of mouth makes it more possible.
So almost we are ending the podcast, but there are two, three questions I would like to ask you before you leave, because it's not that every day we get to see you.
That's it.
So
Yeah.
I don't want to leave this opportunity. So, what is a normal day like? Like, because when the movie releases, I believe there's a tension going on in the directors, producer. They feel it, right? Even the actors, they say. So for you or for the multiplexes, what's the normal day like during a big release, or what is
You're
this
asking
thought
about a
process?
normal day. I would say normal. I don't know what is normal word any week. Like our big release will be one day of 4 days before, seeing how it is, what's the content, when is the movie time, when the schedule is opening, when are the tickets sold, what's the kind of crowd which is coming up. You will see us in days, all the senior people also sleeping in sofas to see the first day, first shows, effectiveness and stuff, and a lot of employees' hard work which is put in together. The typical show day starts at 7 because the crowd starts coming in 6 a.m., 5 a.m. If the show is at 11, a huge crowd standing in, managing them, entering, getting them the right seat, getting them the right schedule to watch the time, and then after that, servicing the patrons for the food and beverage, and ending up the day with thing. It's not a normal day, but a mammoth of task on the day.
Yeah, but do you feel that tension, just like they feel the
Course.
tension that how it will do?
I think we live this tension every week for every movie because at the end of the day you're giving them a space for your content and you want to succeed. It's a business at the end of the day for them also, no? And it's someone's passion which is being broadcasted in a larger screen. We definitely feel the pressure and tension.
Right. So, so one question, ma'am, which I'd like to ask you that who's your biggest source of motivation, and also how do you get inspiration uh, in your daily life?
I don't want to do this discussion of saying, I look up to uh, uh, a Mahatma Gandhi or a big celebrity or a big person in the industry. Name anyone for that sake. My biggest motivation is myself and my hunger for life. I am on the field to prove myself, and every day when I feel demotivated, I look myself and I just apply my cream and I say, "You're looking good. Do well for yourself." So my biggest motivation off late is me because one other thing I feel is we can take learnings from others. We can kind of learn a lot of things, but when it comes to implementation and when it comes to execution, you're the only person who's going to do it. So learn the best, perform the best, work the best, and do the best.
Right. Great. And the last question for you, ma'am, is you are being a successful leader in your position, and you are doing it consistently for the many years. What message you want to give to the women, especially women, uh, those who are working women, also their mother, managing the household work as well? What message you want to tell through this platform?
So don't let your dream be shattered for your children because they have their dream too. Make your plan, and a plan that make should have your children as a part of the plan, and it's not that everything is given to them as a key for success. I do know it's called a work life balance. It's called the motherhood and stuff. I think we women have the most beautiful story to speak and perform because we have calmness and we have more accuracy, we have more intent, and we are more proactive. So to all the women out there, I was a young girl who got married at 16 and had two children. And if I can do it, any one of you can do it. Like, trust me on that. You guys are much about, just believe in yourself and be yourself. Don't manipulate. Don't be believe in office gossip. Celebrate for others and be yourself. That's the best success story.
Okay, great message for all the women who are watching this podcast at this point of time. And uh, one more question, ma'am, which is how do you manage? Because you mentioned you have a hectic, or rather, I can say a crazy schedule. Just like yesterday, you were traveling from north to south. Um, so, how do you maintain your calmness, or rather, I can say, how do you keep yourself fit physically and mentally in the midst of this chaos?
Physically, I try walking and stuff. Though I have a knee issue recently, so I've put on a little more weight, but I still kind of try being what I am. Mentally, I eat a lot of food. Like, I really enjoy food, and my day can't. If you want to keep me calm, you have to give me good food, and good food does a magic. And that's the lot of people say a lot of things, but this is true that good food calms your senses. And before I respond or react to anyone, I take a 10 minutes 10 seconds break saying, is it worth my anger? And if it says no, and then I'll like, then why? Like, I really don't have to do that. Chill. And that's the mantra I follow.
Right. So, on that note, once again, ma'am, I would like to thank you once again that you have joined today, especially in a holiday and you are in office, I can see. But any message you want to give to the audience of this podcast who are watching this from all over the world, and how important is to chase your dreams and passion?
be selfish and be very very clear on what you want. Life gives us one chance, and I want to be the best in that chance. I don't want to be a mediocre. Even if you want to be a mediocre, it's okay, but the choice is to be yours. You have to be convinced. I don't want to go and see the mirror and say myself that yeah, I planned it, I did do it. I can postpone it, but I definitely want to work on a scheduled life plan of myself. And it's me versus me all the time. So it's you versus you. You be a better version of yourself and be selfish to make yourself the better version of yourself. So on this note, I keep asking. A lot of people ask me this question. I want to end up this session with this question that what did you benefit from doing a lot of education, especially investing a lot of money? Because people will be like, you spend so much on UCLA, on IM, and I'll be like, if you ask me, am I a better version of 2000 before 2019 and now? Yes, I am. Did I invest on the right thing? Yes, I did. We invest on property and we invest on or save on a lot of things. First, invest on yourself and make the best of yourself, and then we can see the rest. All the best, viewers, and thank you for having me here, Sandeep.
Definitely, it's a pleasure and honor, and I'll say privilege because when I first approached you, I never thought that I'll get a reply back because it happens that I chase many successful people like you, and maybe it's not their fault. They are busy, I understand. But it was really nice, ma'am, that you reverted immediately and you agreed to do it as soon as possible. So, thank you so much. This podcast is enriched with your knowledge and wisdom and your positivity. So I wish you all the best for your future endeavors as well, and looking forward to see you in some different avatars also.
Done. Thank you so much.
Okay,
Take care. Have a nice time.
take care.
Bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye.